Hi people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video we are looking at the concept of Inception Report rating for monitoring and evaluation consultancies. Just to begin with, how do we understand the concept of Inception Report or Inception Report rating? The Inception Report presents the initial understanding of the assignment of the consultant team and the proposed work plan for completion of the assignment. An Inception Report summarizes the review of documentation undertaken by an evaluator mandated by an organization and specifies the evaluation methodology, determining thereby the exact focus and scope of the exercise, including the evaluation questions. You've understood it's just a review of documentation taken by an evaluator if you've been given a consultancy, and they require you to give them an Inception Report. So you take that step, verify specific documents, give them the evaluation methodology you're going to use, maybe conducting that evaluation exercise, and the exact focus and scope of the exercise. Also, it's important for you to include evaluation questions. So consequently, the evaluator is expected to deliver an Inception Report as one of the key deliverables, which is shared with the project management team and the independent evaluation team or unit and the core learning partners. In most cases, the Inception Report is already the first step towards your final report. And this is always shared with the independent evaluation unit and core learning partners for their comments and the project management group. And when they include their comments in the Inception Report, it's very important for you to address and discuss those comments for inclusion in the final report. So why the Inception Report? It helps to ensure that the evaluator understands the terms of reference of the evaluation. I've seen you see very many calls for consultancies. So this Inception Report helps to ensure that you as the evaluator or the consultant understand the terms of references of the consultancy you're taking on. And in most times, the Inception Report provides guidance to evaluation managers, evaluation focal points, and evaluation consultants. The Inception Report is a means of ensuring mutual understanding of the consultant's plan of action and a timeline also for conducting the evaluation. It also provides additional guarantee of adherence to an interpretation of the TRS. So it's basic as explained that they just want to understand if you, the consultant or the evaluation, understand the terms of references, including the evaluation questions, the timelines. If they've set some timelines, it's very crucial. So that's what the Inception Report tells them of your understanding of the terms of references outlined in the call for consultancies. So we're looking today basically at the Inception Report, and here below is the Inception Report structure. One, we have the cover page, the table of contents, the abbreviation and acronyms. Then we have the introduction section. Under that we have the background and context, purpose and scope of the evaluation. Then we have section 2, which is the methodology, which has under it we have the evaluation questions, the indicators, the methods of data collection and analysis, the sampling, the preliminary findings, and the limitations to evaluation. Then we also have the work plan. Section 4, we have the logistics and support. And 5, we have the annexes, which is the work plan you designed, the evaluation matrix is a mandatory, the terms of references, the documents reviewed, the draft data collection instruments. For example, questionnaires, if you're going to use questionnaires or interview questions or any other data collection instruments, you include them in the annexes. So you're going to look at each section in detail for you to understand what exactly each section you're supposed to do in each section of your rating your Inception Report. So under the introduction, you said you have the background and context. Here you briefly sketch the overall concept and design of the project or program. Normally, they give you the project document or program document, so you're able to get this information from the project or program document. And in here, you can include information such as the project background, the project objectives, the project time frame, invested resources, and if there are other multiple actors involved in the process, please also specify who and to which extent they're involved in the process. So this is in the background and context. Still under the introduction, we have the purpose and scope of the evaluation. So here you clearly and thoroughly state, in line with the terms of references that are given to you, the purpose of the evaluation, which is the objective of the evaluation, and its scope in terms of geographical coverage. Where is the evaluation going to take place? Maybe, for example, you can say it's going to take in Masaka or PG. It's normally stated the terms of references, the geographical coverage, where maybe the project is taking place, and that's where you're going to evaluate. Then the time period you're going to cover. Are you going to do this evaluation in 2 weeks or 1 week or 3 days? It's very important for you to mention that in your scope and evaluation. Then you have section 2, which is the methodology. Under the methodology, we have the evaluation questions. These also are usually included in the TRLs. The TRL already provides a set of evaluation questions. These are not to be regarded as exhaustive or meant to guide the evaluator in finding an appropriate evaluation methodology. So consequently, the proposed evaluation questions can further be elaborated. You can give you evaluation questions in the TRLs, and you can use that or further elaborate which evaluation questions you use for your evaluation methodology you're going to actually do to evaluate maybe a specific intervention. So it's not that what they give in the TRL is exhaustive. You need to also think through and think, if I'm going to select this method of evaluation, there are so many methods. We shall look at that. What evaluation questions am I going to look at when I'm evaluating this intervention or project? Under section B still, the methodology, we have the indicators. Also usually these are in the project document or program documents. Or any other project related source studies in the description which you are to do. So these already provide a set of indicators. If these indicators are regarded feasible or not, you can develop new indicators or specify already existing indicators for the evaluation questions. So you can use those questions in the project, those indicators in the project document. To specify also for the evaluation questions you stated above. So please also make sure that all the indicators that you're coming up with, if you're coming up with new indicators, are SMART. SMART meaning that they are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and attainable. Then still under section C is our methods of data collection and analysis. So in here you said that the data collection and analysis methods you're going to use when you're conducting your evaluation. So you introduce all the data collection methods you may plan to use or to implement in the field. For example, questionnaires, survey interviews, direct observations, any appropriate method you see fit that you're going to use in your evaluation, you state it in this section. So these methods will help you assess the counterfactual, which should be preferred where possible. We shall look at that. Or as evaluators of M&E, you know the counterfactual and non-counterfactual in evaluation. So in your elaboration of group methods of evaluation questions, they address, further explain how you plan to triangulate the data. Triangulate means to use all the methods of data collection, both quantitative and non-quantitative methods of the data collection. As a final step, introduce the methods of data analysis that will be applied when you're processing your obtained data sets. It's also very crucial for you to mention your methods of data analysis you use to analyze the data collected in this section. Still under that, we have the sampling. Yes, under sampling, you elaborate on the sampling techniques that will be applied for the different data collection methods. For example, it may be either random sampling, stratified random sampling, or broad-based sampling. Yeah, and critically discuss if the chosen sample size is statistically relevant and what sampling errors might occur. So if you selected, maybe the intervention has impacted, maybe you're looking at the beneficiaries of, maybe beneficiaries from a loan project, and they say maybe over 12,000 households have benefited from this. And I've chosen a new sample for evaluation as maybe 500, yeah, based on the method of sampling you've chosen, yeah, or yeah, based on the sampling technique you've used to come to that figure, you have to explain why that sample size and how it's relevant, and if there are any errors that might occur, and how it's relevant to the evaluation you're going to do, yeah. So if it's 500, you explain why you chose a 500 sample size, and if it's actually relevant. Is it a representation of the whole population? Yeah, if it's yes, you indicate. If it's not, you explain why. But normally, need you to take a sample size that is a representation of the whole population. Doesn't have to be too small, doesn't have to be too big. But normally, the bigger the sample size, the better the results. Yeah. Then you have preliminary findings. These elaborate comprehensively on the results of the desk study and other preparatory work carried out at this point. Where already possible, present the findings in the context to the presented evaluation methodology, and focus especially on any relevant findings not in the fields not or any indirectly addressed by the TRRs. So the TRR normally give you maybe the expected preliminary findings. So in this section, you also elaborate comprehensively, and those maybe you may have found out in when you're doing your desk review, in the project documents, or any other documents you may have used at that point. You indicate those preliminary findings in this section, which will eventually shoot into the final report. And you have limitations. Present your limitations and give reasons for risks or limitations of the evaluation framework based on the applied methodology or information obtained and analyzed so far. Also try as accurate as possible to reduce the consequences for and anticipated shortcomings of the final evaluation report from these risks and limitations. Yeah. So if you stated any risks and limitations based on evaluation framework you're going to use and the methodology, it's also crucial for you to make propositions on how you're going to address these limitations. You just don't mention them and then leave them there out for anyone to address. It's you who has to come up with the proposed solutions on how you're going to actually address these risks and shortcomings in case they are to occur. So it may be a risk that is based on resources. You may say maybe we need more resources. Maybe you may need, if this occurs, you may need to have more time in the field. Yeah, maybe with this proposition or limitation, maybe you can say the limitation of, you may have a limitation on data entrance. Then you can say that we'll have a bigger composition of data entrance based on that. Yeah, the limitation of maybe that the data is will have collected a lot of questionnaires, and if we have few people on the team, yeah, we may have to enlarge our team to actually make sure that the data is entered and analyzed on time. Yeah, so it's based on the limitation where you can also propose a solution that you're going to use to actually address that limitation. Then through you have the work plan. In here, you develop I have a video on the work plan. Kindly go check it out on how to develop a work plan. But also here is just briefly in the Inception Report. It's also it's mandatory for you to include the work plan. So here you show the evaluation phases, which are data collection, analysis, and reporting with their key deliverables. And also you give references in this paragraph for the Inception Report to the evaluation team composition and distribution of duties and responsibilities. You're going to look at the template. So you give the project phases or the evaluation phases, and also you indicate who will be responsible and the time they will be able to do that responsibility based on that. So if the TRLs themselves propose a timeline, you have to work within that timeline they propose. Or if you have any reasons for amendments, it's at this point you request for amendments. Maybe you say I may need more time in the field, and also maybe in developing the report for this evaluation. So this is the point in the section where you elaborate on that. But normally they give you a timeline in the terms of references, and it's pertinent that you follow and work within the timeline. So as I said, specify the responsibility and the deliverables for each evaluation phase as accurately as possible. That's still under the work plan. And summarize the work plan in a matrix. We're going to look at a sample of the work plan. Then before we have the logistics and support, this is the logistics you need to work with in the field. So the evaluator here will rely on the infrastructure and expertise of the organization. So this applies to your work in the field or organization, especially the project program. And it provides as much assistance as possible to facilitate the evaluation. So specify in here all the assistance you need in addition to that which is already listed in the terms of reference. Maybe you may need to work with the program staff. You specify, are there any facilitation for the program staff? Maybe the TRS has indicated this is a whole budget ceiling, and then you may need other resources maybe to work with internet-based systems. So you indicate that. You indicate all the logistics and supports you may need during your evaluation. So it's under this section where you indicate all that you may need and any other people you may need to support you in the evaluation who are coming from the organization. So this is based on the organization infrastructure and expertise. Then we have after the annexes, which you are supposed to attach. After that, you finished your Inception Report, and I've gone through the Inception Report structure. One is the work plan, then the evaluation matrix, the TRLs that were given to you, the documents you may have reviewed. These are all mandatory. Then the data collection instruments you plan to use. They can be either questionnaires or interview questions or guides or focus group discussion kits. Any, you attach them in the annexes. And this is the sample work plan. As I said, one, you have the evaluation phase, maybe data collection, deliverables. Man who will be responsible is the consultant. Where is the data collection going to be done in the project area? What's the timeline? It could be for 4 to 5 days. Data analysis will be responsible, the time, location, the deliverables, and the timeline. So that's just a sample template for your work plan for the project, for your Inception Report, evaluation Inception Report. Then the evaluation matrix. Here we have the main evaluation questions which you already specified in your Inception Report. The specific evaluation questions already also specify the indicators. So this is just a summary of almost your Inception Report. The data sources which you're going to use to address the specific indicators, the data collection methods you may have to use, the sampling, the method of data analysis or limitations and risks. yeah, that's it about the evaluation matrix. Also crucial for you to include it in your Inception report. Then after you've done your Inception report, you go into the field and the field work, analyze your data. You're going to actually report on it, and this is the final report structure. In here, I'm not going to go into detail. I have a video on reporting, so you can also go that and review that. This is very direct. It just feeds in from the Inception report to your final report. So one, we have of course, the table of contents, cover page, the table of contents, the abbreviation and acronyms, the summary of matrix of findings, supporting evidences, and recommendations. Yeah, very key. This is why you've gone to the field and done the evaluation, to give the summary of the findings and any supporting evidences and recommendations if you find any challenges that need to be solved. Then we have the executive summary in here. We have the introduction. And under the introduction, we'll give the background and context to explain that. You give it in detail, the purpose and scope of the evaluation, executing modalities of program or projects in detail, the methodology, the limitations of the evaluation, the major findings and analysis, the outcomes, the impact and sustainability, the lessons learned and best practices. It's a new practice to you to include this section as an evaluator. It's very important. Most donors are wanting and encouraging to know what were the lessons learned, what are the best practices we can carry on to other projects or scale up, the recommendations and conclusion. Then annexes. Attach the terms of references, which are mandatory, your work plan, which is mandatory, the interview guidelines, if you use any, the list of persons interviewed, and the field schedule, mandatory. That's if you interviewed any, the evaluation assessment questionnaire, mandatory if you use the questionnaire, the data collection instruments, any other you've used, are mandatory for you to attach in your final report structure. So that is it about the Inception report. Thank you so much. Comment in the section below on how you've done the Inception report, any challenges you faced, and we can address them together. Yeah, thank you so much. Like and share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you again.